When you stop and think about it, Mario is a guy that loves to fight people. I mean, he has so many enemies and people that want him dead, and there's like no exception to that rule. Not only the Mushroom Kingdom people hate him, like every enemy in every galaxy seems to have beef with Mario. Even enemies that live in the Sprixie Kingdom, this little kingdom filled to the brim with those cute little fairy Sprixie princesses. Today, we are going to be taking a look at the bosses that Mario fights in Super Mario 3D World in order to find the best ones. Let's go down that clear pipe and enter this kingdom without further ado. Hey, I'm Nico, and here's the top 10 Super Mario 3D World bosses. Alright, I don't actually know if it's fair to call this a boss, but it's not like there are that many choices for bosses in 3D World, so this will have to do. And you know, since I put it at number 10, you can already tell it's gonna suck. In this part of World 2 lies this boss level called Big Galoomba Blockade, and it's basically just a simple boss fight against 3 giant Galoombas. You know, those weirdly shaped fake Goombas? Yeah, to defeat them you have to jump on their heads, making them fall on their back, to quickly jump again to kick them out of this whirl. Or you know, you can just ground pound them for an instant kill. Yeah, I know it's not that impressive, but then again, there's 3 of them, making the task a little bit more difficult? No? Still not convinced? Me neither. Let's move on. Hopefully the next 9 entries are actually going to be good bosses. Super Mario 3D World has all sorts of weird hazards and enemies. For example, these strange looking caterpillar enemies going left and right on those platforms, or those big cloud looking guys that try to blow you off the stage. And those enemies are alive, I mean they are a breathing, moving creature. Now, these spiky platforms here are not. They just tilt and move in various directions, and basically you can just jump in the opening in the middle or just wait for them to move out of the way. So, let me tell you, out of those 3 enemies we just mentioned, which one makes the best boss in your opinion? Well, your opinion is irrelevant because Nintendo decided that the spiky wall was the best boss? Okay, I'm kind of lying. The real boss is actually this little square that goes in the middle of it. Its name is King Ka-thunk, and he's not a very scary boss. Basically, he'll be moving in one of the 4 corners of the metal square to try to crush you. But as you can see, there's a big red shadow that appears before he falls down, telling you exactly where he'll land, giving you plenty of time to move out of the way. So you know, just jump on his back 3 times and he's gone. Do you guys remember the bullies from Super Mario 64? You know, those little guys that you'd have to punch and kick to throw them off the stage? Well, they made a comeback in Super Mario 3D World, and they basically act the same. You just jump on them and push them off. Well, apparently, these guys all follow the orders of a more powerful one, Prince Bully. This knight in a shiny armor is awaiting you in 2 different Bowser castles, and to defeat it, you basically have to do the same thing you do to a typical bully. Well, except you can't really push this one down the stage as there are walls everywhere, but you can actually push him onto one of those clear pipes and then inside of them, where he'll come out on the other end all squeezed up and tiny. Then you can just kick him to defeat him. Once every while he'll spit out fireballs, but they're super easy to dodge, so this won't actually be too much of a challenge. Plus, since this game is on the Wii U, you can actually just use the touchscreen to tap him onto a clear pipe, so this makes it way too easy. Alright, we can't make a top 10 bosses list without my boy Boom Boom. This guy, who came out originally from Super Mario Bros. 3, has been a part of many Mario games, including Super Mario 3D World. And let me tell you that he has special powers in this one. Basically, he'll always attack you by swinging his arms around, trying to punch you to death, and basically, if you jump on his head, you'll be all good. But he also has a couple of tricks up his sleeve that were never seen before. Boom Boom is now able to go invisible while spinning or when within his shell, forcing you to anticipate where he is moving in order to avoid him. Thankfully, you can kinda tell where he's going because he's not 100% invisible. There's still a little shadow type of thing that you can see, so don't worry too much. Later in the game, Boom Boom also spawns Koopa shells that he tries to hit you with, forcing you to pay more attention. But you know, nothing too difficult though. In the center of this very hot looking volcano lies our next entry, Brolder. This guy is a big lava rock enemy that rolls around trying to crush you. He usually spawns 3 boulder enemies alongside him that do the exact same thing, and you actually have to grab those boulders and throw them on the boss in order to hurt him. And once Brolder is hit, he'll start spinning around like a mad lad, throwing hot lava boulders at the same time, forcing you to dodge them all. The second fight against him is even more difficult, because now there are some lava balls on the platform rolling towards you, and there's actually nothing you can do against them except running away. But then again, use the boulder guys to defeat him and you'll be okay. So, you thought Boom Boom was a pretty powerful boss with his new invisible skills? Well, that's because you haven't seen my girl Pom Pom. I think she and Boom Boom are actually boyfriend-girlfriend, but it's hard to say. Anyways, that's not today's topic. The real question is, what makes Pom Pom better than Boom Boom? One word: shurikens. And clones. But mostly shurikens. Pom Pom knows that Mario's a tough opponent, so using a weapon against him is mandatory, which is why she and her many clones will throw out those spiky deadly weapons at you. To defeat her, you'll have to find the real Pom Pom and jump on her head while dodging all of the clones and other shurikens. At first, there's not a lot of clones with Pom Pom, but the last fight over there actually has so many that dodging all of the shurikens is quite the task. Alright, let's be honest here, who actually likes clowns? Like, who's actually not scared of them? Nobody. And this is why the next boss on the list is quite the spooky one. His name, Motley Bossblob. This guy is a clown with a magic wand that he uses to gather large blobs to turn himself into a giant blob monstrosity. Ugh. After he ground pounds, all of the blob goes flying around everywhere, and it's up to you and your many clones to destroy the blobs and the boss himself. In all honesty, you don't actually have to attack the blobs, but it feels so satisfying to see him run away all alone from you and your many clones, so I actually do it all the time. The second time you fight him, he gets way more powerful and his blobs are now golden. So every time he does a jump, there's this blob circle of doom that goes everywhere, forcing you to jump above it to avoid taking damage or, losing some clones. But once again, it doesn't matter if he uses silver or golden blobs, I still want to get rid of them all and chase him with my many clones. Does that make me a psychopath? Next up on the list is one of the most original boss in the Mario universe, and I name Hisstocrat. This purple serpent seems to be a king, as he can be seen wearing a crown and a royal cape. The way this boss attacks is by emerging from the ground, sending big rocks you have to avoid. However, he can also whistle to summon more snake enemies, some having plates on their heads and others just plain trying to bite you. In order to defeat him, you have to jump on his head, and the best way to do so is to jump on those snake plates to get to the top. A later fight in the game faces you against 2 Hisstocrats at once, a king and a queen. Both have the same means of attack, except this time the boulders are hot and explode into hot lava you have to dodge. And once you defeat one of the Hisstocrat, the other will stop and cry for a moment. Ah, that's kinda sad, don't you think? Super Mario 3D World's main new mechanic was the inclusion of this brand new power-up, the Cat Bell. With it equipped, Mario and his friends turn into lovely cats with claws that are able to climb up walls and do their super cat dive attack. Well, you know what? It ain't fair that only Mario and his pals get to play with this new power-up. Which is why our boy Bowser got his hands on it too. The final boss in this game is none other than Meowser, which is more or less Bowser with a cat bell. Look at this, it's beautiful! But also kinda gross. Meowser has the same abilities as the other, climbing up huge towers, but he's also able to pop out of walls to try to attack you. And that's not all. Another power-up introduced in 3D World is the Double Cherry, which allows you to create clones of yourself. Well, Meowser got that figured out too. Look at all those cat Bowsers everywhere. How many cherries did you eat, Bowser? You're gonna get a stomachache for sure. This final battle is pretty epic and a really good way to end such a Mario game. But there's still one battle that I prefer to this one. Alright, let's be real, the boss fights against Bowser are not always the most interesting ones, mostly relying on you jumping above him and hitting an axe and that's it. And the 3D Mario games were not that much better. I mean, Mario 64 is just a spin to win type of boss. Mario Sunshine forces you to fight Bowser's bathtub, not him directly. And while the Galaxy series improved that quite a lot, I feel like 3D World takes the cake for sure. Instead of fighting Bowser directly, you actually fight Bowser in his brand new ride. Who knew Bowser had a need for speed and was into sports car and tuning? In those battles, you follow Bowser's car while dodging his explosive soccer balls, spikes, lavas, and Goombas. To defeat him, you'll have to kick the soccer balls before they explode on you, and doing that a couple of times will do the trick. My favorite thing to do when I'm against this guy is to try to catch up to his car, but sadly it's impossible. Mario is just too slow. Now, if only Sonic was here, he'd probably be able to catch up. Hey guys, thanks a lot for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe and hit that bell if you don't want to miss a single video I make, and give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Tap the cards on screen right now for more boss fight related top 10s, and I'll see you in the next one.